Good morning, Year 5. Today we're going to be continuing with the topic you were looking at last week with Mrs. Moore in your final lesson of the week. We're going to be continuing with rounding decimals. Rounding is important because it makes numbers easier to manage and allows us to estimate numbers, and it is very helpful in everyday life. For example, imagine you're in a shop and you need to quickly estimate how much your shopping will be before you get to the till. You would round up the prices, so you might round up £1.90 to £2 to make it easier to add up. We also use rounding decimals when we think about weight and when we think about height. So there are many times that you use this. And if you look at this number line below, this is just a quick little reminder that any numbers between 0 and 4 you round down, and 5 up to 9 you would round up. So let's look at rounding numbers with one decimal place to the nearest whole number. When you have to round a decimal to the nearest whole number, you have to think about the ones column. The column to the right of the ones column is the tenths, so that is the column you use to decide whether to round up or down. So let's have a look at an example. What is 13.4 rounded to the nearest whole number? So here we have it in a place value grid. We can see there is 1 10, 3 ones and 4 tenths, and you can see that the 4 tenths are highlighted because we need to use, that's the column we look at to decide whether we round up or down. So in the tenths column we can see that there is a 4, and we know that numbers between 0 and 4 we round down. So we will round down to 13. We can also use a number line to help us visualize this. So take a look at the number line below. You can see that 13.4, firstly it falls between the two whole numbers, the integers 13 and 14. And we can see that 13.4 is nearer to 13. And therefore 13.4 rounded to the nearest whole number is 13. Okay, let's have a look at an example of a question you might face. So this question says, round to the nearest kilogram, and we have the number 10.2 kilograms. So what I would do was I'm going to think about this. I'm going to put it on a number line. So 10.2. Now I know that 2 comes before 5, and 5 is when we round up. So I can see clearly that 10.2 is nearer to 10 kilograms than it is to 11, and therefore 10.2 kilograms rounded to the nearest kilogram is 10 kilograms. Okay, now it is your turn. So again, your question is round to the nearest kilogram. You have the number 36.8 kilograms, and you need to round that to the nearest kilogram. And you can use the number line below to help you, and you can see that 36.8 falls between the integers 36 and 37. So look at the number line, use it to help you to round this number to the nearest kilogram. So pause the video here, you can write it down or you can just say it out loud and then come back. Okay, so 36.8 on our number line would be here, and we can very clearly see that 36.8 is nearer to 37 kilograms, and therefore rounded to the nearest kilogram, 36.8 kilograms would be 37 kilograms. Here is another question for you to complete. Again, it says round to the nearest kilogram, and your number this time is 21.5 kilograms. Now, I've put this helpful number line at the bottom of the screen to help you so you know where you round down and where you round up. So pause the video here and have a go at this question. You can just say the nearest kilogram out loud or you can write it down. It's totally up to you. So pause the video here, then come back. Very good. Well, we can see that 21.5, or we know that it falls exactly between 21 and 22. But we also know that when we have a 5, we round up. So therefore 21.5 kilograms rounded to the nearest kilogram would be 22. You may have noticed that today's lesson is all about you completing questions within the lesson. So here is your final question before you crack on with your worksheet for the day. So it says, round the mass of each suitcase to the nearest kilogram. So number 1 would be 12.8 kilograms to the nearest kilogram. Number 2, 22.1 kilograms to the nearest kilogram. And 17.5 kilograms to the nearest kilogram. Now this question shows you just how you would use rounding in everyday life. I'm sure all of you have been to an airport or had a bag weighed before, so this is when you might round up or round down. So pause the video here and you can write these down on a whiteboard or a piece of paper, or you can just say them out loud. Pause it here and then come back. Okay, so number 1, 12.8 kilograms rounded to the nearest kilogram. Now we know 12.8 falls between 12 and 13, so we need to decide whether we're rounding up or we're rounding down. So I will look at this 8, and I know that 8 is after 5, and any number after 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we round up. So therefore 12.8 kilograms to the nearest kilogram rounded is 13 kilograms. 22.1 kilograms. This decimal number falls between the two whole numbers 22 and 23. I will look at my tenths column and I can clearly see that this would be rounded down to 22 kilograms. And finally, 17.5 kilograms. This falls between the two whole numbers 17 and 18. And we know that with 0.5, we round up. So this would be 18 kilograms. Right, that was a very short and snappy lesson, but you now have to crack on with your worksheet. It is all to do with rounding decimals, as you might have guessed. If you get stuck at any point, come back to this video to help you out. And remember, if you're completely baffled, please do send Mrs. Moore or myself a dojo message to help you. Good luck.